So the news that broke after we started recording, or after we finished recording last week, I should say, is the presence of all-time teams and 16 new classic teams in NBA 2K18. And that's pretty good news, Ben, because it's been a few years since we've got a significant amount of new historical content in the NBA 2K series.
Yeah, kind of surprising that adding that many new teams. It was probably more, thinking if they were to do it, it would probably be a maximum of about four. So, yeah.
Well, there is a couple of catches with the teams that they're adding, and it seems that they are adding a lot of newer teams. So we'll get to that shortly. The all-time teams are, as the name suggests, the all-time best lineups for each of the 30 NBA teams. So that's something that we've made a lot of people have made mods like that, going right back to the old NBA Live days on PC. A lot of people made the all-time team mods. So it's great to see that idea finally implemented in the game. Well, not for real, I guess. We made it real with the mods, but certainly for all platforms, consoles where you can't have all that modding, to actually have those in the game like that by default. So, and apparently we can edit them as well. So they're going to be available in the roster editing. Remember last year the Dream Team was not available in the roster editor.
Yep.
All-time teams are going to be available in the roster editor, so we'll be able to make use of their assets for other custom rosters and things. So again, it's a great feature to have across all platforms to begin with, but it's obviously some flexibility there as well. So that's great news.
Well, yeah, and this was sort of leading off to what I was doing with my fantasy Miami Heat team. So
very much so. You won't have to do any work this year.
Yeah,
Out of the box.
Straight up, yeah. So there might be one or two players that they might throw in that I might not agree with or prefer from a different player. So this still could be a little bit of tweaking and stuff, but especially if they had someone like, say if they had in the Miami Heat roster, say they had like Antoine Walker on it, which I'd totally disagree with. I'd go for someone else. So
switch in Eddie Jones or something.
Well, if he's not on there, I'd be pretty pissed. So
yeah. But if nothing else, you could get him from one of the other teams, I would say.
Yep, that's true.
Or one of the historical teams. But so that's going to be 30 new teams right there. Apparently, the '92 Dream Team is going to be in this year. I saw that reported over on Forbes by Brian Mazik. So franchise play, of course. So hopefully that's accurate. Not a pre-order bonus this year, obviously. So they're going to be in the game. Apparently, the other international teams are going to be as well, and of course EuroLeague. But they're adding 16 new all-time teams, and we're going to know all of them by August 25th, and there might be a full reveal with a lot of screenshots. But they've already been revealing them on Twitter, and the teams that we know as of this recording. By the time this goes out, there's probably going to be a couple more revealed on Twitter. But as of this recording, Ben, the teams are the '97 Miami Heat.
Yes.
99 New York Knicks.
Yep. Because that was actually one of the ones that we talked. I think we speculated or talked about in just our recent podcast.
It was one we'd like to see. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the Friday Five, talking about it. 2002 Kings back in the game. Remember they were the limited edition unlock code for 2K12. They were in the game along with the 91 Warriors. 91 Warriors are still in the game as of 2K17. So it'll be nice to have them both there. 2004 Lakers, another one from my Friday Five. Going to 2006 Memphis Grizzlies and 2013 Memphis Grizzlies. I think these are two of the more controversial additions. I guess because neither of them are particularly that significant, and some of the players are on other more significant teams.
Yeah, well, for me, the '06 Grizzlies one benefits me because it's got Eddie Jones on there, and I created a couple of his player-exclusive colorways of his shoes when he was playing for the Memphis Grizzlies and that, and one of them I pretty much wear a lot in our Pro-Am team and that. So for me, I actually get to, be actually able to equip him in those shoes on that team. So I'm happy with that one, needless to say.
I feel like having both is kind of overkill. But I think it's one of those situations where they've wanted to add as many teams as possible, and they've had the assets from other teams and realized, we can add a couple of extra here and there, and there are no historical Grizzly teams, so let's try and get one or two of them in. I don't think they've been chosen over other teams. It's just been the way it's gone. I I guess people are looking at that and saying, well, okay, so we're getting the 2013 Grizzlies, but we can't get a Charles Barkley team or something like that. It's understandable, but there's other issues at play there, of course. So we've got those two Grizzly teams. 2008 Denver Nuggets, AI and Melo. That's a pretty good one. That's a great what-if team there.
Yeah, I know Kenny will be happy with that one, I reckon.
Absolutely. 2011 Dallas Mavericks, of course, the champions that year. That's a pretty good, considering they took down the Heat's big three. I guess maybe not the best memory for you, but at the same time, very significant in that respect, because they were supposed to be the, I suppose, fall to LeBron and co. that year, and they didn't exactly roll over. So that was a great year for Mavericks fans, and of course after 2006 with being able to do that, get some revenge there. 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder, which is the last season that they had the Thunder had their big three of Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good 5 years have passed since then. 5-6 seasons have passed since then. So that it's another what if situation. So that I think that they're an interesting and appealing choice because of that. And the 2016 Golden State Warriors, which I suppose it's been pointed out in the forum, they're basically a lesser version of the current Warriors in terms of the lineup. But again, historically significant because of the 73-9 and the most wins in NBA in a single NBA season. Not the best winning percentage overall in the season, and no championship. That was only the 96 Bulls. Just putting it out there, haters. Because remember, if you disagree with someone, they are a hater. But again, it's a very recent team to have, but because of the historical significance, because of the records they set, and I guess it's just throwing in a recent team because they've got all the assets for those players and the licensing. It makes sense.
Yep. And, I'm sure people want to re-experience them blowing a 3-1 lead.
Oh, sure. They put in the 2016 Cavs, or put together the 2016 Cavs and take them on. Yeah, sure. I still would like to see the 2007 Warriors in there, though. That's another one that I'd like to see. From here, because I think they've covered a lot of the teams I wanted to see. I'd still like to see a Jordan Wizards team because of the oddity of the situation.
Yeah.
A Jordan Wizards team was the other one I was wanting to see. 07 Warriors. Love to see Barkley's Suns. If they do have his rights, I'd love to see it. And a Reggie Miller team as well, a Pacers team. Because if you look at the all-time 76ers, Rockets, and Suns teams without Barkley, or the all-time Indiana Pacers team without Reggie Miller, that's going to really stick out like a sore thumb, isn't it?
Yeah, you see some generic faces like, that's not going to work for me.
Or presumably just no one at all, and so who they're going to have they're going to have Vern Fleming. You're going to have Vern Fleming there instead of Reggie Miller. I mean, he was a fine guard for his day, but he wasn't Reggie Miller. So to those Indiana Pacers teams, or the Nets teams he plays for as well. The other team that is rumored at the moment, apart from the 07 Warriors, is Kenny Anderson, former Net, among other teams that he played for back in the 90s and early 2000s. He reckons that his 93 Nets are in the game. I suppose he would know, but it hasn't been officially announced yet, but he may have leaked that as well. So 93 Nets, Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson, Drazen Petrovic.
That's a pretty solid team.
It's another what-if team, especially with Kenny Anderson and Derek Coleman perhaps not becoming the stars that we thought, and Petrovic's tragic passing, of course, in that off-season, in 93, after the season concluded. So that's another pretty good choice. And again, 90s, so that appeals to me. And
so that had the sky sort of.
That was like early. That was That was like 91. They had this, They had the sky blue. I mean, it might be there. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up on sports logos, I guess. I know that kind of got phased out towards the mid-90s, but they might have still had that. It was an alternate, wasn't it? It was one of the early alternates.
Yeah. I think it was like a white and red, or white like home, and then a red away, and then it was like the.
Or it was the solid blue away. It might have been the sky blue, because I know they changed the color as the.
Or it had like that sort of skyish texture.
Yeah, I know the one. I like that jersey. It's also the one they were wearing when Michael Jordan did that move between the three players, the Chris Morris, Chris Dudley, and Derek Coleman. So that incredible move there. So that's where I remember that from. Sorry, Nets fans. But,
If there are any.
I assume so. They're seeing their team move around a bit, I suppose. But over the since leaving the ABA, one of the few ABA teams left in the league, of course, after the merger in '76, which we weren't around for. But anyone who knows their history knows that, I suppose. So those are the teams that we know as of this moment, rumored or otherwise, rumored or confirmed. Yeah, I guess some of the choices are a little bit unorthodox, a little bit weird, but you can also see that a lot of the players that are, for example, on the 2006 Memphis Grizzlies are also available on other teams that are already in the game or being added to the game. So I guess they've just had the assets and they've put together a couple of extra ones.
Yeah.
But it is great to see that new content being added, because it has been a few years since we've got the new classic teams. Do you think we'll also get some more missing players added to the existing teams? That's something I'd like to see.
I hope so. It just feels kind of bland or generic, or just bland, or not fulfilled in terms of that of having them in there.
I mean, you've got the 2004 Pistons and the 2000 Blazers missing Rasheed Wallace. He's a big member of that team, a big member of that team. So that. I hope they can resolve some of those issues there. I'd love to see them get Barkley, I like Barkley team as I said, and a Reggie Miller team in there. Nice to see the 2002 Kings back there with Chris Webber in the game. Yeah, but something I would like to see them do with the historical teams, I'd like to see them change it so that they only need the 8 or 9 active players, so they don't need the generic players on there, because the generic players, I think, really do ruin it.
Yeah.
And I know it's there because of the system, but if they could rework it, the team could work with just the minimum 8 players, the minimum 8 that need to dress, if that's still a rule, and just adjust the lineups accordingly, and just not have any generic players on there. I feel it does ruin it a little bit.
Yeah, breaks the immersion thing of it, I guess. The appeal of it.
Just a little, but I guess it's the workaround. You can't license absolutely everybody, but I'd prefer to just have a team of 8 players, 8 or 9 players, if that's all they can get, as opposed to, or even just a team of 6 players and just play with a starting lineup and a couple of reserves, than have to see that those generic players. And the other thing that annoys me is when the generic players are ahead of the other players in the roster, in the rotation.
Oh, yeah.
I said, well, surely all the generic players should be at the bottom of the rotation. They shouldn't be coming into the game ahead of any real players. They shouldn't be above, and they should all have ratings of 25 overall, and they should be non-factors. They should be seat fillers, basically, because that's what they are. So
practically ball boys.
Yeah. So apart from that, other screenshots have been released. We've got the screenshot of the all-time Lakers, of course. Lonzo Ball isn't on there, so what haters 2K are. You put Big Baller Brand in the game, but you won't put Lonzo Ball as on the all-time great Lakers when he's clearly better than all the Lakers put together. Those who disagree are clearly haters. But in all seriousness...
and those who agree are LeVar.
Yes, there's probably a very short list of people who agree. Yeah. But all jokes aside, great to see all this historical content going into the game, seeing some new screenshots coming out very regularly of 2K18. Carmelo Anthony's 84 overall, and Hooded Melo is 98. I wonder how many people are taking that seriously, that Hooded Melo is in the game at 98. I put it out in the forum that he was going to cost $500,000 VC. Just to joke people, I don't think they're putting Hooded Melo in the game. Hoodie Melo. But if they are, he's apparently one of the best players in the game, so... he's the one to get in my team, obviously.